So now that we've finished our evaluation and we've decided this head is not going to be repaired, and anytime we're doing a multi-spindle head evaluation, the minute we decide it's not being repaired, we don't have to go any further. So on this head, we had a strong suspicion it wasn't going to be repairable early on, but for the sake of this video, we went through some of the steps to show you things that we were looking for, even though we were pretty confident we were going to find them. At this point, we're just going to do electronic documentation of it so that the sales team has a clean, clear, not greasy copy to work with. In order to do that, we're going to go into, and I'll show you, this is 2022. I'm just going to open this folder, and we're going to go to 2022 repair photos. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder, and this is going to be 6B number 19. So we're going to make a new folder, right click, folder, and I'm going to call this, the date was 9/21 that we started this. So it's going to be 09/21/22. Vanguard is the company. And this is the 6B-19 model. And you'll notice that all of that is pretty important because right next to it is 9/21 6B model 18. And so that, I've created my folder there. I'm going to grab the evaluation template. I'm going to copy and paste it into here. So I just hit Control-C, but you could also right-click to paste. And I'm going to paste it in here. Please do not ever work on this document. Copy and paste it only. Only work on a document when you're inside the folder, and don't cut it out. Leave the template here for everybody else to use. Now that I'm in my folder, I'm going to take the template and I'm going to rename it 6B19. Eval. That's going to let us know that this is our evaluation for the 6B19. Now I can open up this document, and I'm not going to take everything here because we're not, at this point, we're just documenting stuff so we have enough information to go back and understand what's going on. I'm the engineer that evaluated this, so I'm going to put my initials here in the top corner. The date is going to stay what it was, which is the date we started working on it, 9/21. The urgency was other on this because they sent it in without any information. And this is not a warranty head, so I'm just going to say no. Model 6B19, which we know. Reasons for evaluation. The customer said the spindles were moving up and down. And so at this point, because the head's not being repaired, instead of documenting everything, I'm just going to document the things that affected this head not being repaired. So on the input adapter, input worn out. That needed to be replaced. Spindle output condition, the spindles had rust and damaged threads, meaning we were going to have to replace the output spindles, a number of them. And the damaged threads were due to poor packing for delivery. So that's kind of a big deal because we want to kind of let the customer know why that happened, and we'll show you why in a minute. The exterior housing condition wasn't good, neither was the paint, neither were the modifications, and neither was this, but I'm not documenting all that because at this point we're just trying to move on with this job. Grease characteristics, there is an impact there. Bearing balls, ground and grease, gritty and magnetic. The transfer spindle gear conditions, damaged gears from bearing failure. And then we're going to skip all this other stuff, and we are missing, okay, the interior housing condition right here, and this is going to be bolded. Journals worn out, shoulders worn out. And basically that's telling me that there's journals on this that won't properly support a bearing, and there's shoulders that are worn out, which means that the spindle can now travel vertically. And so even if the journals weren't worn out, they were going to be soon, because if we rebuild this, they're just going to move around. So then repairs based on the evaluation, head not suitable for repair, housing, spindles, gears, all damaged. Head is also old style and quite old. So we're not going to estimate the time to repair. We have a repair evaluation, a form that would tell us how to calculate that based on the number of spindles and things like that. But one other thing that we're missing here, which is not noted here, time on eval. This must be an old copy. We had an hour and 50 minutes that I was working on it, plus 9 minutes that Nicholas did. We're just going to call that 2 hours. And so that's it. This pretty much tells Chris or Derek or whoever the salesperson is what's going on. I'm going to reduce this to 1 page worth of material, just so that we can focus on the important stuff. And we're going to save that, and that's in the folder as this. Now Chris can grab that. He can use the information to communicate with the customer if he needs to. So we're just going to go ahead and close that document. And now there's a little bit more support work. We were taking photos, if you remember. And so this is the photos that we have of this head. And I'm going to just copy and paste these right in there. And unlike our photos that we use for job documentation, all we have to do here, we don't have to rename everything. However, we're going to rename key photos. This photo might not look like much, but this is how these heads were shipped to us, with no collet nuts installed, no packing material whatsoever. So they were banging around against each other while UPS was playing football in the parking lot. And so we're going to rename that photo, which was this one here, 223. We're going to rename that bad packing. And then here we're going to go through a little bit further and see, this is our worn input spindle. That's a fixable part. This is showing us some of the metal flake in our process. These are pretty critical. So this is going to be, let me see which number that is. 244 is going to be broken wave washers. And I'm actually going to ask, we're going to go take one more photo, and that photo is going to be the worn shoulder and worn back of the housing, where the screws were grinding into the back of the housing because the shoulder is so worn out that now the screw is starting on the back of the spindle, is starting to hit the back of the housing, which means eventually the spindle would push right out of the back of the housing, but some other things would catastrophically fail first. So we're just naming a couple of photos that are key things that maybe Chris or Derek wants to share with the customer, and everything else is just in there. They can reference it if they want to, but it's not essential. And at that point, we're done with the evaluation. We'll send Chris an email, and I may copy him. I may tag the estimate onto the email for him, or not the estimate, but the evaluation. But I may just tell him it's not suitable for repair, and all the information is in the folder. And that's it.